Fantasy Footballers Sunday Live.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Sunday Live. It's me, your boy, Mike the Fantasy Hitman Wright from the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. It's week 8, so we're over halfway? I think so. I mean, we have the odd week, so everything's all screwed up now. Whatever. Your regular season. We're making the push now. It is playoff push time. We got to keep getting those victories right now. Incredibly important. I got Al Borland on the ones and the twos. What is that? A fantasy football is cool shirt?
You're darn right it is.
Is that an OG? No, that's the reprint.
Yes,
nice.
It is.
Well, if you want that, shopballers.com. But he'll be holding it down on the ones and twos, like I said. If you have not joined us before for Sunday Live, number one, a special welcome to you. Thank you. The way that this show works, we break down all the news. Always lots and lots of news to talk about. Then we take a look at the hot start-sit questions that are going on thefantasyfootballers.com. That's where all of our rankings are right now. And like right in once the show is done, I hit the lab again to make sure that they're as tight as I can get them to be for my projections. But you can jump on there, and we have a start-sit tool, player X versus player Y. You put it in there. We give you a bunch of variables that are going into helping you make the best decision that you can, the decision that we would make. You know, if it's just a static 1 versus 2 type of a situation. And if you want to be a kind supporter of this show at jointhefoot.com, that will unlock to a 4-player start-sit tool as well as tons of other cool perks like an extra episode every single week. Boom, there. Oh, nice. You weathermaned me. It's over here. Oh, man. I'll never be a weatherman. But you can check that out, jointhefoot.com. But let's get into the news.
The big picture.
So, lots of quarterback news. Trevor Lawrence will be playing. You know, it didn't seem to hamper him too much, the old knee injury. He came through with that big Christian Kirk touchdown at the end of the game. He should be a pretty good play this week. Deshaun Watson will miss yet again. I did see an update on that they said the injury is not considered long-term, but when you give a fully guaranteed contract to Deshaun Watson, he holds all the leverage, and he will play when he is ready to play. Daniel Jones remains out with, I think, the neck injury, which I have also heard the update on him is that he should be back soonish. Not sure if he's going to miss another week or not. Kyler Murray, the rumor mill got spinning real fast this week as he was practicing in full, and then on Thursday he practiced without an injury designation. Again, he is playing without a brace on the reconstructed knee. All great stuff. He remains out. He will not be activated for this week, but the speculation will grow, that he's going to be ready to go next week. We'll see if that is the case or not. But at the latest, we're going to get Kyler Murray back in 2 weeks. Justin Fields remains out with that thumb injury. We'll see when he's going to give it back, but Bilbo will be handling things in the meantime. Brock Purdy, well, he's expected to play now. He is an afternoon game, so if you are riding with Brock Purdy as your QB2, you better still have Sam Darnold or somebody on there. He is expected to play. A late addition to the concussion protocol, but he seemed to whiz right through it. I don't know. Very strange, very strange. Will he be able to play just fine? We shall see. And then the other big one that came through this morning, Patrick Mahomes. He's going to play. So don't let me freak you out there, but he was added to the injury report with illness. He is expected to play. We have but then the reports were yesterday that he was receiving all sorts of IV, getting the fluids in him because he is not feeling good. He is still not feeling good. And then to add to that, Kansas City at Denver, there was a big storm the past night. I am told it looks like it's going to be a freezing cold game. We're talking temperatures in the 20s. Now, normally if you're just talking temperatures in the 20s, a slight downgrade to fantasy football options, but I don't think we're going to have any other conditions. Light wind is what I am seeing. Maybe we'll get some flurries during the game. That shouldn't really impact things, but we'll see. We'll see how tough Mahomes can be because, number one, doing anything when you have flu-like symptoms is incredibly difficult. And I'm talking like getting up and making yourself a sandwich, right? I mean, it's a flight of stairs. Good Lord. You might be like, nope, I can't go down these. But no, he's going to play a football game, and he's going to play a football game in 20-degree weather? Deshaun Watson's looking at Patrick Mahomes right now like, what are you doing, man? You just sit out. This is what we do. We sit out. But he's going to play. Mahomes is tougher than I am. I'll say that. At the running back position, Zach Moss was missing time, practice time this week. He is going to play for the Colts. I do think that the transition to Jonathan Taylor, like not like you weren't playing him, but I think we're wheels up here with Jonathan Taylor, especially considering that we didn't know if Zach Moss was going to play. How much will he actually get touches in this game coming off the injury? Raheem Mostert will officially play. Montgomery won't play tomorrow as speculated. Then the bye week. I'm guessing that David Montgomery will be back after that. Jerome Ford, Cleveland Browns running back, he remains questionable. The update on the report was that they still want to see him work out before the game to know if he can truly go. So, I mean, if you're holding out for Jerome Ford, I understand, but it's going to be sketchy, and you better have another option. Michael Thomas also dealing with his own sickness, but he is reportedly going to play. Curtis Samuel, didn't know if he was going to be in. That could have been a sneaky upgrade to Jahan Dotson, who's probably on your waiver wire right now. But nope, no dice. Curtis Samuel is going to play. Robert Woods out. Debo remains out for the San Francisco 49ers, as does Zay Jones. Man, Zay Jones he cannot catch a break this year with injury stuff. Tyler Lockett, who missed some time with the this week practice with the hamstring, he is expected to play. Old Peach Cobbler, chomping on the gum, said that he expects Tyler Lockett's going to go. Afternoon game. Josh Palmer is a game-time decision, as is Gerald Everett for the Los Angeles Chargers. The report I saw was that Joshua Palmer is far more likely to play than Gerald Everett. Not sure if that means either is likely to play, but game-time decision nonetheless, and that's the Sunday night game. Darren Waller, good to go. Taysom Hill is in, as is Luke Musgrave. And then in really important tight end news, Kylan Granson for the Colts remains out. If you were trying to play.
Dang it.
That's what I expected. Oh, Granson. But no, he's not going to play. Owl, is the computer all ready to go?
There it is. Yes, apparently. It was booting up, but we're good now.
We got to stay on top of that computer, man.
Yeah.
It'll run amok. Here we go.
Electronics.
He's so hot right now.
As I said at the top of the show, thefantasyfootballers.com for all of our rankings. Our start sit tool is available for you right now because I can't possibly touch on every single fantasy football player in this. This is just trying to get the real heavy hitters, the big questions that are out there. So check that out right now. And we also keep track of who are the trending players, who are the trending questions, and those turn into really difficult questions that I'm going to try my best to answer right now. So, Owl, who's hot right now?
Who's hot right now is Deonta Foreman. A lot of questions coming in about Foreman.
Of course he is.
Of course. We'll start off with Deonta Foreman or Roschon Johnson.
Yeah, we're going to get right into it. Cool. All right. I don't have any top secret information from the Chicago Bears. I don't think anyone has information about it. This is gut, and I mean gut speculation of playing fantasy football for numbers of years and seeing how these types of situations shake out. The way that I see this, for at least for this week, I think that Deonta Foreman stays in the role that he has, the grinder, the 1-2 down back. Maybe he'll get a few receptions. I think he had his career high in receptions last week from Bilbo. And then Roschon Johnson will be taking the third down, the change of pace, which is it's insane that Roschon Johnson's a mountain of a man. So for him to be the, quote, change of pace running back, that's pretty wild and speaks highly of his skill set. But he is a rookie. He is just returning from his concussion problem. You know, I think that they'll lean on Deonta Foreman based off of what he did this past week. So if I have to play either of the two, I'm going to go with Deonta Foreman. I am starting Foreman in my league of record. That's not like a high endorsement because my options are basically him or DeMarcado. So maybe that's a decision that you're making. I'm going the Foreman side. But honestly, it's such a difficult situation because we don't have all the information. We're kind of taking our best educated guesses. Foreman, but it would not surprise me in the slightest to see Roschon Johnson jump into some form of like workhorse running back market shares, but I just don't see it happening this week. Who's next?
All right, we're going to stay on Deonta Foreman here a little bit and see if you had any of these other guys on your roster, if you'd be starting them over him. Darrell Henderson.
So Henderson's taking on the Dallas Cowboys. He at least has his starting quarterback. Foreman against the Chargers. Chargers are not a scary team. I get it. The magic that Bilbo had this past week, and I'm talking about Tyler Bagent, by the way, Chicago Bears' current starting quarterback. I don't know if that magic can continue for 2 weeks because that was a wild game. You can't win consistently in the NFL if your ADOT is 2.4 yards or whatever it was. It doesn't work. It does not work. But Foreman was incredible last week. I think that he can keep it up against the Chargers. The matchup for Darrell Henderson is Dallas. I'm on the road. That worries me. I'm going to go Foreman.
All right, and then I'll rapid fire 3 more at you.
All right.
Miles Sanders, Kareem Hunt, Chuba Hubbard. Any of those guys over Deonta Foreman?
Okay, I have Chuba 1 spot behind Deonta Foreman, so that's actually very, very close. Again, Chuba is my start of the week because I wanted people to have confidence being able to start him. Is he truly the starter? I'm not sure. I saw a report on Twitter. I think Adam Levitan shared it. I can't recall. But it was basically like, don't be surprised if Chuba's the starter this week, which that should not be starting at all. He's been the better player. Miles has the money, but Chuba has been the better player. Miles is coming off of an injury. So, hot hand approach. Houston, Chuba's looked pretty good. Between the two of them, I think I have more confidence. I have more confidence in Chuba, so I'll try and make that switch in my rankings here. But again, it's just 1 spot between them. I'm going to go Chuba. Kareem Hunt, that one's a little bit more difficult because I don't have the full information on Jerome Ford. If I knew that Jerome Ford was going to be out, then I would go Kareem Hunt because it's Kareem Hunt, Pierre Strong. It was a weird split of opportunities when it was just Pierre and Kareem Hunt. But Kareem Hunt's, I think he's still the better player. But if Jerome Ford is in the mix, it's pure chaos. And who was the other name? You do remember?
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders. Oh, no. Miles Sanders remains on my bench until he proves otherwise to me that he is now back to a reliable starting running back.
All right, let's move over to the wide receiver position and talk
go.
about Christian Josiah Olave. Would you start him or Jordan Addison?
Oh man! So, Michael Thomas is going to play as we reported, but he is dealing with his own flu-like symptoms, which should be a boost for Chris Olave. I'm not really scared of the Colts matchup. Jordan Addison has been on such a heater, and the Packers don't scare me either. That's a really, really tough one. I'm still going to go with Chris Olave, but that switch may happen next week. That we have more confidence in Jordan Addison. We have the 2 full games of Jordan Addison as a starter with no Justin Jefferson. The first one was a disaster. I mean, it was like 3 or 4 targets or something like that. It was very strange. And then this past week, yes, he had the fluky 60-yard touchdown where he stole the ball from the defender and then was able to just scamper off to the finish line and get us that touchdown for fantasy. But the targets were fantastic, and we had a quote from Coach Kevin O'Connell after the game specifically saying that he believes Jordan Addison, from that performance, that was like, that's a huge trust builder for Kirk Cousins. And that's what we need. Kirk Cousins trusts, like, he would trust fall anywhere into Justin Jefferson's arms. That's where he got with him. And what does that turn into? That Kirk just, when he's in trouble, he's like, I know Jefferson's over there somewhere. Whoop, there goes the ball, because I believe that Jefferson's going to catch it. If we can get there with Jordan Addison, oh, man, targets galore. Addison's an incredibly talented player. That was just a long way of me hyping up Addison. But I'm going to go Christian Olave over Addison slightly this week.
Okay, 2 more quick tough ones with Olave. Christian Kirk and Zay Flowers.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen, that you want to play inside of a dome. I mentioned the Denver-Kansas City game. It's going to be cold. The reports on Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, scattered showers, light wind, but look, rain does affect things. Ask Joe Burrow and his tiny little hands if playing in the rain is a good thing. So that is kind of unfortunate for Christian Kirk because the matchup, oh, man, against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are not stopping wide receivers. By the way, the other game, the Jets and the Giants, that's the other one that you got to pay attention to for weather if you're going to factor that into your decision. I would prefer to play Christian Kirk over Olave. Weather with like that sucks, but I think I'm still going to go Christian Kirk. And then Zay Flowers against Arizona, I believe it was Andy's start of the week. He is a great play. So this is, we're splitting hairs here, but while Zay Flowers is the number 1 wide receiver for the team, Lamar is greedy. Lamar's a greedy man, and I love it because he's taken all those touchdowns for himself, so many rushing touchdowns. And then, of course, Mark Andrews is his guy. We haven't seen the repeated crazy targets, like giving Zay Flowers real downfield shots. I mean, he opened the game with one last week and then just kind of fell off. I know the matchup against Arizona is great. Zay Flowers in my redraft, you just like more often than not, Zay Flowers is in. So it's a pretty wild decision to bench Zay Flowers this week. That's prevent that at all costs. But if I have to make a decision between those guys, I'm going to go Kirk, I'm going to go Olave, and then I'm going to go Flowers.
All right, one at the tight end position.
All right.
Logan Thomas or Taysom Hill?
Okay, so Taysom Hill, the transition has been pretty interesting over the last couple of weeks that he has been playing more like a regular tight end and then still getting those wildcat snaps at the goal line, getting him opportunities for rushing touchdowns, which he had one last week. Juwan Johnson is, I believe he is back. I know he was marked as healthy. I didn't get Jeremy, if you can find anything on that, if he is going to play or not. Forgot to double check that one before the show started. But regardless, it is his first game back. It's been a disappointing year so far for Juwan Johnson. I will play Taysom Hill over Logan Thomas. If we get a status on Juwan, that just increases my probability and increases my confidence in the Taysom Hill play. Logan Thomas does get Philadelphia. Yes, Sam Howell had some success against them the last time they played. Sam Howell and company should be okay against them again, but I'd prefer to go. I'm going to go Taysom Hill. I'm going to lock that in. I'm going Taysom Hill against the Colts. So don't even worry about it. But is that it for the computers?
That's it. Let's get to the people.
Here we go.
Stardom, set 'em.
All righty. The people. I see your questions. Let's answer. We got Brandon Miller says Dameon Pierce or Zach Moss. That's a pretty easy Dameon Pierce for me. I believe we are on watch this week to see if what the Texans showed us before the bye week of Devin Singletary getting more work than Dameon Pierce. We're on watch for that. It was just 1 week. So that's not like you can't just lock that in and say that the transition has happened. But the transition that has happened is Jonathan Taylor over Zach Moss. plus all his injury concerns through the week. That's a pretty easy Dameon Pierce for me. Next question. Joshua Montel says full PPR, Zay Flowers or Jacoby Myers. Let me look. Of course, they are back-to-back in my rankings. Jacoby Myers is going on the road on Monday night to play the Detroit Lions. Zay Flowers has the much better matchup. But Jimmy G loves Devontae Adams, and he loves Jacoby Myers. I think that Myers has the higher upside, and his floor is very safe. His floor is very safe to me, so I'm going to go Jacoby Myers there. Moving through the questions, next we got retraced. The 4 is an A. I got there, Mr. Leet Speak. Goodness. Nico Collins or Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle, not fully. Is Jalen Waddle ever fully healthy? I don't think so. I think that's one of his things. If he were fully healthy, it would be incredible. But Tyreek, also not fully healthy. Maybe Jalen Waddle gets leaned on a little bit more. Oh, man. What a wild world. I'm going to take Nico. I'm going to go Nico Collins. I got to make a bump here to him. He's played so well. The matchup against the Carolina Panthers, I think we'll be all right. We talked up the Texans and C.J. Stroud a lot. I believe Stroud was Andy's start of the week. So we do have a lot of confidence in that play. Davis, speaking of Texans, Davis wants to know Tank Dell, who's back, or Drake London. For that one, I'm going to take Drake London against the Tennessee Titans. It is a pass funnel defense. It remains that way. Of course, yes, Arthur is going to try and establish it. He'll try and establish it with Cordell Patterson in Algier, and maybe if we're lucky, if he is, such a gracious coach for us dumb fantasy people who live at home with our moms in the basement, only increasing the popularity of his sport hundreds of times over, getting him the big paycheck that he currently is enjoying. But no, hate fantasy football. But I'm going to go Drake London. In that question, God, dude, Arthur Smith makes me so mad. He makes me so mad. Next question, we got Joshua says, so it's a full PPR. Is it Calvin Ridley or Deonta Foreman? I get it. I understand that Foreman had the 3 touchdowns, but that was wild. There was a reason that people were freaking out over it, because it was, holy crap, Deonta Foreman with Bilbo Baggins, Bagent, scored 3 touchdowns. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's full PPR. You got to go with Calvin Ridley on that one. It was a really, really fun week. But here we go. Next question. Jacob, Rashee Rice or Amari Cooper in a full point PPR. Talked about Denver. I'm sorry. Denver is playing Kansas City, but it is in Denver. It's going to be cold. Rice, still not a full-time player yet, but then you got P.J. Walker, a.k.a. P.J. Tucker, who will be playing on the road against Seattle. Oh, man, that's a really tough one. I'm going to go with Cooper. I'm going to go with the full-time player, not in the cold with the quarterback who has the flu. We just need – right. Mr. Reed, it's time. I think you should look at your wide receiver core and say, what do I need to do to get this team ready for the playoffs and the Super Bowl run that we want to make? It's play Rashee Rice, man. Play him. Please. Next question. We got George Pickens or Josh Downs in a full PPR. This one's from Nick. Josh Downs, very safe in a full-point PPR situation. But I'm gonna stick with George Pickens here against Jacksonville. The matchup not super scary. Deontay Johnson is going to play. I don't know if people needed to hear that or not, but we believe that he is going to play with the weird Thursday missed practice with the hamstring. But George Pickens he's been very good, man. He's been a true alpha wide receiver. we aren't getting the full production out of him because, Kenny Pickett. But George Pickens has been doing some good things for us. Next question. Tony Donay wants to know Palmer or Hopkins full point PPR. If you're making a decision like this with Josh Palmer, oh man, I was gonna say you got to go with Hopkins, but with the conglomeration of quarterbacks for the Tennessee Titans, oh man, with Joshua Palmer again is a game time decision Sunday night. You have to have a pivot option if you are counting on Joshua Palmer. I think I'm just going to play Hopkins, and I'm going to hope that Bananarama is fueled up he's full of mayonnaise and banana peels, as he is one to do, because he's gross. But, we're up against the clock. All right, let's try and rapid fire some real quick. Ford or Singletary, PPR. Again, I don't know off the top of my head if the Texans are an afternoon game or the morning. I know we had 9. NFL put 9 games on again. What are we doing? Why are we going 9 games in the morning? What are we doing?
Texans are a morning game.
Okay, so thank you. I would play Singletary because I don't know for sure that Jerome Ford is going to play if you don't have another option. I mean, I'd prefer to play Ford if you were healthy, but here we are. And we got Trey wants to know Cortland Sutton or Kendrick Bourne. I'm gonna go with Kendrick Bourne on that one and just hope that he remains the starting wide receiver. Fingers crossed. And then final one, let's get out of here on this one. John says Gus Edwards or Deonta Foreman full PPR. The PPR doesn't really matter for either of them. Gus Edwards gets the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to go that route. I'm going to go with Gus, the Gus bus, beep, beep. That's going to do it, everybody. Thank you. I thought I had pushed it somehow. Freaked me out. But anyways, good luck today. Wish your opponents nothing but the worst. Remember to keep it beautiful. See you tomorrow. Mwah.